about 10 seconds behind, so you can just do your thing.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you for the introduction. I want to give a big shout out to the entire XR Women leadership staff, those working in the front line and behind the scenes, with all the social blasts, with all the technical onboarding expertise, the kindness, the fortitude, the commitment, the dedication of this group is unmatched. I am so grateful to be here. My name is Zeta Beasley. I am the founder and CEO of Zeta Data. And for the next 20 minutes, I am going to give you hopefully some great takeaways and gems on the confidence, character, and creative force necessary for immersive technology leadership. Next slide, please. So this path and journey for me started over 25 years ago. Yes, I have been in industry over 25 years. I wrote my first AI algorithm in 1996. Can you believe it? I actually, I'm just gonna go through a few career success stories that I think are important for today's talk, so that we can discuss not only the infrastructure and the fundamental strategy of developing and honing in on your confidence and developing your character and using all of that energy to build a creative force, but how did I get here, right? So I started out writing artificial intelligence algorithms for the GPS systems, and those calculations were considered impossible. So I was very bold and daring to the team. I was told that this was impossible. I was told that it would never be done. And I was thinking the entire time and imagining what would it be like to be in the Amazon jungle and not know how to get out, not have a way forward, not have any type of device. And we're talking about mid-90s. And the team at the time were at Martin Marietta, before Martin Marietta and Lockheed Martin merged. I know I'm dating myself, and that's a great thing, because we're happy to be here, vibrant and vivacious as ever. I told them, you guys, we can do this. So I decided to lean in when they told me it was impossible. I leaned in and I gave them the calculations. And by default of them solving the calculations, they were actually doing what was necessary to promote GPS. The next opportunity was amazing, because NASA got a whiff of these calculations that I was writing, and Lockheed Martin, they merged, and then NASA decided, well, we would love her to lead our team to launch these satellite application systems for the infrastructure to make GPS possible into space. And so those birds are in space right now. I am only able to discuss most of what I have done in my career because these are now commercial products. Please know this is pre-Google. So if you're Googling this, you're not going to see my name for obvious reasons. And also be reminded that Google Maps is using my calculations, and anyone who taps into the navigation system in the satellite data that's being promoted, both the data capturing and predictive, is using my calculations. The next project that I worked on was the A10, Low Altitude Safety and Targeting Enhancement Computer, or LASSI computer. The reason why this is important is because at the time, the United States Air Force had one requirement. They wanted the bird to fly autopilot, but they didn't really know how. So I gave it LiDAR, embedded virtual reality, augmented reality. I created a heads-up display so that the pilot can focus on the target while the plane flew autopilot at a certain altitude. It was the first of its kind. And I can remember having to deal with so many challenges, being bold and brave again, saying that we can do this. I also remember being in the room and presenting to the Air Force client and realizing that they thought I was catering. They did not know I was the lead engineer, right? So we've come a long way. And the last, highlight I want to kind of point out here is my work as lead design engineer for drones. And most people don't know drones stand for Defense Rescue Oriented Navigation Expert. Yep, that is the official name of drones. And again, we are light years ahead of where we started. And so I'm very grateful to have an amazing, resilient-based career success story despite all the challenges. Next slide.
Oops.
So I started Zeta Data as a senior in undergrad at Howard University. It was my senior thesis, actually, and my instructors thought I was nutty. I told them we were going to live in a world where, in our lifetime, where humans and machines are going to have to decide what type of relationship they're going to have, and it needs to be a trusted relationship. Our life is going to be similar to the life of the Jetsons, and my instructors said, she's crazy, and yet I'm trademarked with patents pending, and we're here. And I will say to anyone who does not receive the encouragement or support about their ideas, first of all, be careful who you share your dream with. Number two, also realize that when you have a vision and you understand the revolutionary impact it's going to have across the globe, do not let it go. And Zeta Data is a testament of what that is. What you're looking at right now is kind of the vision, right, of how it started. It is, I enjoyed this logo, right? I designed it. And so it is built on right now Web 2 interface, but it's moving right into, and we're integrating into Web 3. It is, the Z actually is a chip, a microchip, a smart chip with big data, if you will, elements on the inside. And then as you go through the circuit board actually releases the deliverables that are in the big data cloud. And it's all sitting in the circuit board, right? Because again, we are the infrastructure of Web 3.0, and that is the vision. Next slide. Just a few more information tidbits about Zeta Data. We have been established for over 20 years. We have done many opportunities and projects in the past and present. I am so grateful to be trusted by my partners. Google Cloud is one of my major partners. I have partnerships with Topcoder. The mission is to engage, design, deploy immersive, human-centered, end-to-end, scalable big data, AI, machine learning-driven products, and deliver empowering services using cloud computing for Web3 readiness and metaverse transformation. As an emerging technology products and services corporation that designs and deploys modern innovations, intuitive, human-centered, predictive big data capturing deep learning ecosystems of products with immersive AR, VR experiences using cloud computing, we are used as seen as a trusted advisor to the C-suite of technology. We're helping to not only forge ahead with the design standards, but to also prepare, if you will, industry for the metaverse transformation. Next slide, please. One of my amazing products that I've been working on for the last 10, 15 years that no one believed would be possible is my Flying Taxi. The Flying Taxi with the embedded Zeta Data, human-centered empathy and compassion interface software. It is an autonomous vehicle. And this actually is a video, but I just did a quick snapshot so you can see what the vision is. And as you can see, it's similar to life like the Jetsons. And for those who don't know what the Jetsons is, you can YouTube it. I think they have a few episodes out there. More on the Zeta Data Autonomous AI Mobility Project in the near future. Thank you. So as a quick overview, as we have about 11 minutes left, I'm going to speed through as much as I can the information that we have, go through the confidence section, the character, and then we're going to just kind of go power through the creative force, and then we'll wrap it up. And I would love to hear and answer some of your questions. Next slide. Maya Angelou said, "I can be changed by what happens to me, but I refuse to be reduced by it." I would say the most important part about confidence is the first and utmost need for you to believe in yourself, no matter what is happening in the world, in the media, in the family, in anything. Believe in yourself. Next slide, please. Now, I talk about this as a critical point because I believe, and this is my personal belief, as a technology professional, and being a minority woman who was the only woman in some of those projects that you saw listed in the previous slides, I was the only woman, I was the only Black, and I was also very much outnumbered, right? And it's coming up in a time where there wasn't any diversity, inclusion, or DEI training of any kind. And so folks were just kind of winging it. And I had to remember during one of my projects in Silicon Valley where I was designing RDRAM, RAM, and memory test modules, smart test chips, semiconductor test chips, which makes everything smart today. We were actually working on those in the late 90s. Yep, that was kind of vision forward. And what I'm grateful for is the opportunity I had. My team was all Korean staff. My leader was from Taiwan, and the general manager were all white males. And I would go into the lab and do my calibrations and come out and have to present to the client. And my clients were all in Southeast Asia, right? South Korea, Taiwan, and Japan. And I remember them speaking in Korean the entire time we were in the lab, which I didn't speak. And I remember approaching my instructor, my leader, and I'm saying to him, "Hey, you guys, so the team is not speaking English," and they kind of brushed it off, like, "Oh, that's their native language. That's what." And I said, "We're supposed to kind of work as a robust team. It's kind of hard to do that because I don't speak Korean, and we are in America. So can you help me out, please?" And I didn't have, and I noticed throughout my career, leaders who could stand the test of time and have a backbone and speak truth to power and be the movement in the moment, because that was a moment that my leadership missed. And the impact it had on me was it forced me to go within. And by doing so, this is what I learned. Number one, we matter. I matter, you matter. Matter is anything that has mass and takes up space. So you are matter. So you don't have to try to matter. You don't need anyone to provoke you to mattering. You don't have to do anything else to matter. You already matter, right? That was so powerful for me. I hope that you are able to take that away. And if you don't remember anything else I said today, just remember when you look in the mirror, I am matter. I already matter. So in terms of character, let's talk about this quote with Helen Keller. Character cannot be developed in ease or quiet. I notice a lot of leaders avoid conflict. They avoid adversity. They try to prevent as much, issues. And the reality is, character is a muscle that you have to develop, you have to use. And if you're constantly running away from the opportunity to get on the other side and move through diversity, think through, solving the problem from approach all the way to solution, then you're missing an opportunity to develop and learn more about who you are, what you're capable of, and learn more about others and how others see you and what kind of impact you're having. So this quote is really fitting, right? Character cannot be developed in ease and quiet. Only through experience of trial, suffering can the soul be strengthened, ambition inspired, and success achieved. Next slide, please. So some of my high-level lessons learned is on the project level, right, in the career with clients, it's important to always build consensus, no matter how much of a fast forward thinking idea you have. It's important to bring people along in the story, and it's a constant everyday leadership requirement to do so. And you want to do this early, and you want to be consistent, and you want to get what I'm getting every day with my project teams and my board with written sign-offs on the type of work and tasks that we take on. Be consistent in your communication style. Try to be who you are with everyone, meaning be the same person you were, you're at work, and that you are in the supermarket. Just decide on who you are and be that person. I like to also raise the concern I have about the level of integrity. We don't see a lot of leadership that promote this concept of integrity, right? It's integrity in my definition and how I live my life is it's the integration of your values and your behavior, right? And doing what's right when you think no one is watching. But we live in the age of generative AI. So the AI is always watching and always listening. And let's be very clear about and not dismiss perseverance and persistence. There is power in being able to persevere and be persistent in your quest. Next slide. It's a little bit about grit and grace. The importance of grit and grace is to understand, number one, that's what you develop on the other side of adversity. It's like something that, after you go to a spa and there's just a natural wave or relaxation that comes. The grit is I'm not letting go attitude, and the grace is this calm courage that's on the inside, and it only can be felt by your teams. It's something that they just pick up from you. It's in your aura. Next slide, please. There is power also in leading with empathy and compassion, right? Think about it in this way, right? You did not go through all of the challenges and deal with all of the discrimination and deal with all of the headaches and the delays for naught. You were put in those situations because the problem that you're solving, not only is it bleeding edge, but it's bigger than you. And at a large scale, you're developing what's called courageous diplomacy, right? Where you can actually speak from a place of power and with grace and grit, but also be diplomatic in that charge, right? And then you're considering the human experience in all of your development efforts and your building efforts. And so asking the qualifying questions gives you the facts that you need to understand what the perspectives are, what the experience is, and what ways that you can improve the technology. And again, we want to think globally. We want to think how we can all integrate and be a robust team. Next slide. So this is my mantra and has been my mantra since I started Zeta Data. Nelson Mandela said, it always seems impossible until it's done. Man, this has been like the, if you will, catalyst that has helped me launch some very seemingly impossible, revolutionary products and services that have been deployed and have changed the world many times over. This has really helped me stay motivated and stay focused. Next slide, please. Being a creative force the force part comes when you overcome all of the adversity. And you do it anyway. You do it when you're told it can't be done, right? And you find a way to build consensus, and you find a way to create the things that have been seen impossible. I would say when we think of Web3 interoperability, we gotta look at this as a holistic approach. Web3 is all about the data, and we're talking about large amounts of data, which is, another reason why in '98, the vision has always been to be a big data, if you will, infrastructure corporation. And we're talking about zettabytes of data, and that's no pun intended, right? That they're half. It just so happens to be a measurement that sounds like Zeta Data and Zeta Beasley, right? So we are definitely doing what we're supposed to do. You know how the universe shows you, right? Gives you confirmation. So those are confirmations for me. But Web3 is already massively scaled. We're talking about unlimited users, unlimited autonomy, domains, addresses, the continuity of data, the things that have to be considered, the identity, payments, login, and the use of blockchain and what that means, and how does that all fit into the way that we're going to live moving forward, and the transition that's necessary, which is why it's important to build the consensus and bring your teams along, which is what Zeta Data does, right? And then to encourage inclusivity. Right now, these individual worlds, virtual worlds, have individual logins, but there isn't a single sign-on. Like right now, you can, download an app, use your Google email, and have a single sign-on, or use your Facebook email and have a single sign-on to edit videos or edit pictures, etc. We do not have that in Web3 at this time, and those are the things that we really have to consider. But they're going to be done at a super large scale, right? We're talking about there's a lot of zeros, right? The measurement of data here. And we got to think about those who right now, 50% of the world does not speak English. Just consider that, how far ahead we are in technology, and yet we still have folks who don't speak English as a first language. And so until we also consider that there are some folks who are still not on Web 2, right? So we got to bring everyone along, and these considerations have to be made. Next slide. I just have a few more. So this is the holistic approach. Again, you'll get copies of this slide. I'm happy to share them. And these are some of the things you want to consider. You want to consider them holistically, and then the connectivity between each of these behaviors. Next slide, please. So let's talk about briefly, right, as I wrap up, the integration of generative AI. So we have data capturing algorithms, right? We have predictive algorithms. These are all, the things that we've been using for the last 20 years. And now we have generative. And the difference between generative and the first two is the generative is actually generating, right? Generating its responses from the data is parsing from human output. So that's why it's important to, create a healthy wholeness and wellness inside of our world today, because the data that the not so healthy people are placing right into the infrastructure is actually being parsed and used as output. Now, the API for the OpenAI ChatGPT has just been released, so there is an opportunity to start that integration process. But please consider that we have to first help humanity be kind online and in real life. And then we need to also embed digital empathy, which is what Zeta Data does, right? It's the brand of the technology has embedded in it empathy and compassion. Next slide. So this is the vision, right? I said this, again, when I was giving my thesis in undergrad and throughout my career, that there was going to come a day where we would have to build a trust relationship with humans and machines. The vision of Zeta Data is an artificial intelligence, machine learning enabled, intuitive, predictive big data repository, which captures and predicts human requests that build trusted pseudo relationships between human and machine. What you're looking at here is an autonomous drone taxi. The embedded system that's driving this taxi is Zeta Data. And it's about to pick up a passenger. Now, this, as you can see, is a real photo because my code is being tested in Dubai and Singapore at this time. And what's beautiful about where we are is we're right on the cusp. And what we have today is an opportunity to really affect change, to use everything we've learned and revoke the idea of building the concept or taking the bricks from Web 2 and building another Web 2 instead, building a whole new world, a world where everyone is included, everyone is seen, everyone matters, and a world where folks can thrive and be and live in wellness and just enjoy life in a way that we just haven't seen before. So, next slide. Here are my socials. Please do follow us, both the company and my personal socials. We are in the process of launching our second iteration of Zeta Data.world. And so I'm looking forward to doing that. This has been an amazing journey, and I would love to hear all of your questions. So thank you guys for having me, and happy International Women's Day.
Ooh, woohoo. Okay, so Gina's gonna have to tell me if you guys are hearing an echo. I'm in Zoom, but I'm also in the world. So if I simply need to get up, not talk in Zoom, just let me know, okay? But you have some questions here, Zeta, that, that's right, you're still talking. Oh, that's right, you're still talking. There's that delay. Oh, sorry about that. Sorry about that. All right, so they're catching up, and as soon as they catch up, there's gonna be questions. Okay. Are we ready for questions now? Cool. All right, I think they're ready for questions now. Hey, Gina, let me know in the chat if you guys can hear me talking, and I'll pull my camera back up. Start my video. I'll stop sharing. It'll be me and Zeta on the line, So it's just, I think there's gonna be just a little bit of a delay, and so I'm going to try to go ahead and read the questions. So let's see. Your very first question is, Did you have any mentors that helped you along the way? And can you share a little bit about that?
So that's a very great, really good question. When I was at Martin Marietta, I did have a few mentors who took an interest in my capability. And by doing so, they encouraged me to be the first Black woman to complete their engineering leadership development program, which is a pretty rigorous program where we went on rotations and prepared for leadership, and we were fast tracked. I found that my mentors were actually all white males. I'm in tech, I was deep in tech. And so they were all white males, and they really cultivated, I guess, my interests and nurtured my gifts. But I will say that's a challenge later now in my career. Like, so now, in the present time, I've outpaced some of my mentors. They've retired. And so I'm trying to find new ones, and I'm mentoring others, but I am having a hard time finding a mentor and a champion for my career at this stage.
Because you're on the cutting edge, you're on the bleeding edge, right? So I guess it can be difficult. The next question is, what project are you most excited about working on now?
Oh, my brainchild, my baby right now is that flying taxi. And the reason is because I'm so close. We are so close. And the pandemic created so many delays in where I was in the process. But I am so excited to be here, to have had the opportunity to take a step back, flush out all the details with the patent, be trademarked, and have my intel protected, which is critical. I've actually had teams actually use the Zeta Data name illegally because they know what we're working on. And just recently on LinkedIn, actually, yeah, it took LinkedIn 3 months to remove this group who were illegally using the Zeta Data name. So I believe everything happens for a reason. And so I'm excited. We've been trademarked, but we definitely had to move through that process. And I will say this right now as a plug: if you are not trademarked, if you have a technology that you haven't protected the intellectual properties, please stop everything you're doing and invest in getting your trademark.
Nice, nice. All right, this will be our last question, and it is, how can women get involved in AI? Let me make sure I read it just right. It's a question about artificial intelligence. Oh, here it is. What are the biggest opportunities for women in AI, and how do we get started?
Wow. So it all comes, I think for me, it came with a vision. Like, I knew that I was clearly going to build the infrastructure for life like the Jetsons. We're here, right? And I think you have to think about it bigger, in a large scale, like it's bigger than you. So find a problem that you can solve and then solve it. Like, use what you have, the tools and resources that you have. You guys, when I watch my developers code now and I see them pulling out the GUI interfaces and the libraries and the APIs that we designed and wrote by hand in the early days, and I see them press compile, and I'm like, oh, this is how you code now. The world is so different for you. So find a problem that you want to solve that has not, maybe like what I'm doing. I'm solving problems that have not been defined yet, right? Because I just keep going with the vision. And so find a problem that you're passionate about and you want to solve, and just go after it. Be bold, be brave.
Zeta, I'm going to gather this chat for you that's in the world right now in iLearn, because you can't see it, but there are so many hearts, so many claps, so many praises of what you're doing. The XR Women community thanks you. We are excited to have you be a part of us now that you know that we exist and that we're here. Yes. We want to spread the word loud and clear about what you're doing and help build upon your success. And we thank you for helping to mentor others that will go on to impact the world. So kudos to you, and thank you very, very much for joining us.
Thank you. I'm very grateful.
The question was, are we allowed to share your PowerPoint with the women in the session right now?
Yes.
Okay. Very good. All right, Zeta, thank you so much. I'll send you an email with this YouTube live link.
Yes, and look forward to seeing you guys. Follow me, connect with me on socials. I'd love to have the conversation, set up some one-on-one time with me. I'm open to having that. And the goal is for me to actually be in iLearn
That's right.